Hey everyone, and welcome back to the weird part of YouTube, aka my channel. So today being Friday, there wasn't any much updates about travel ban or any sort of removal for that. So let's stay tuned for next week when there will be some sort of update, some sort of timeline, hopefully next week, because again, after 9/11 memorial services and everything, I think there shouldn't be much in the plate apart from travel ban. And with vaccine mandates in line, I don't see any reason why there should be one. So let's keep our hopes up for next week for some sort of update with regards to travel ban. One thing I am hoping for is that a lot of countries' travel advisory is going to go to level 1, level 2, and then we could take it from there. Couple of other things that I do want to mention is that, first of all, US has increased Sri Lanka's travel advisory from level 3 to level 4. Level 4 is essentially a guideline for the US citizens who are traveling to Sri Lanka, saying that do not travel there because of high rate of infection over there. So what does this mean? So a lot of people are quarantining in Sri Lanka as well. It's again a popular choice because one, Indians don't need a visa in Sri Lanka. It's visa on arrival, and it's slightly cheaper. And Sri Lanka being in the same sort of cultural differences aren't there compared to India, so a lot of people do stay there for 14 days and then travel to the US in the specific airline. So because of travel level 4, usually what happens is when it's level 4, if the rate of infection is constant or if it's a little higher, this immediately they put your travel restrictions in place. So with the way the country is going, I don't see a reason why they would put for a new country with like Sri Lanka, or are there any a lot of travelers coming in from Sri Lanka into the country? That is also another factor to consider. So after the 26 countries that were in the ban list, all of them are like a lot of travelers coming into the US. That's another reason why they do that. For example, Europe, for example, because of the transatlantic travel. So would we see a travel ban on Sri Lanka? Unclear, but if you have an option to not quarantine in Sri Lanka, if you're a little paranoid about it, then I would say just skip it, I guess. But if you aren't quarantining in Sri Lanka, well and good for you. So another thing about UAE, which is United Arab Emirates, is that it's the travel advisory again for it has reduced from level 4 to level 3. Again, UAE was in level 4 for a very, very long time because it's a very, very small country and there's a lot of rate of infection. So this essentially means that they have enough confidence and they are monitoring actively, so it's in level 3. So even though it was in level 4, there were a lot of flights that were going into the US, like for example Emirates, Etihad. So again, that is where we are. So another good, I wouldn't say it as good news, but something that doesn't really affect us in much way is that UAE has now lifted all travel restrictions for vaccinated Indians. There's a couple of countries, essentially India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and a lot of other countries. I'll leave it down in the description below. So essentially, if you have gotten vaccinated by the WHO recommended vaccine, which is essentially your Pfizer, Moderna, Johnson & Johnson, Sinovac, Covishield, AstraZeneca, and there's another vaccine. There are 7 vaccines. If you've got any one of them, you are free to travel there. Essentially, you do have to get a you have to get a COVID test anyway. But for example, if you are vaccinated from another country like US or UK, essentially on arrival you don't really need to take COVID tests. That was the case for a very, very long time with other countries where even on arrival in Dubai they had to take another COVID test. Sometimes it's free, sometimes you have to pay 150 dirhams, which is not very cheap, to be very honest. It's a lot of money. This proclamation on September 12th removes travel restrictions for those set countries who are traveling to UAE. So this could mean if you're transiting there, if you are essentially a lot of if you're just being there for 30 days, whatever your reason may be to visit the country, it is now lifted off. So what does this mean? Essentially nothing much, nothing changes. Essentially, if you're traveling to the US and US being your final destination, a lot of things are percolating because of Expo 2020 in UAE. It's a big expo, and they want a lot of tourists to come in. So if you have unnecessary restrictions like this, nobody is going to travel. And UAE being a little short on money, they're putting all hands on decks on tourism, so they need a lot of that. So essentially you will see a lot of travel restrictions being lifted in UAE. So yeah, but if you're transiting there, again, this doesn't really affect you in any sort of way. I'm just putting all the information that I can find. So yeah, so Friday, these are the only information I could find regarding travel. Couple of other things to consider that they didn't mention in the press secretary, just a little bit of travel, is that a lot of people haven't gotten their refund. Like for example Air Canada and everything, because of this whole travel pandemic, travel bans existing in the US. So US government is actively working to essentially ensure that they get the refund ASAP, because it's essentially a crime to not do so. So yeah, if you are one of them, definitely work with your working groups to get your money back. So that's all y'all for today's video. It's a very short video, again, because it's Friday. There's not much of travel updates, so hopefully I'll see you on Monday with more travel updates, any fresh news as well. So hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, and that is all y'all. See you later in another video. Bye.